Anyway, oh, I done goofed it there. All right, we'll start off with just some more basic questions before we knock you over the head with the how do I answer this one?
Okay.
So, growing up or now, whatever, what music influenced you, or what what did you really dig?
Oh, I grew up I was in high school in the early 80s, finished high school in 1983, so I really listened to a little bit of everything, but grew up in Waco, in Robinson, small 3A schools, country boy, wear boots all the time, and so country music was probably the music I listened to most often, but I really have always kind of listened to everything. I listened to John Cougar Mellencamp back then, and things I'm not as proud of too, like AC/DC from time to time, and lots of things. The Commodores, I've always felt like, I love good soul music, and didn't really start listening a lot to Christian music probably till my later college years, but really, I really kind of like everything.
Mm-hmm. You say that you're not quite as proud as music like AC/DC. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I think, you think about some of the lyrics, Hell's Bells and some of that kind of stuff, where, you may have liked the rock or the beat or but, maybe the lyrics and the meaning behind some of the songs where I didn't pay a lot of attention to that. I was more into the beat or the rock and roll or whatever it may be.
You barely understand them anyways.
That's right. But so, it's interesting though throughout my life how I think, I've not paid attention a lot of times to what the lyrics were. For me, it seemed more about the beat or the rhythm or and then later you start paying attention. Wow, that's really not a good song.
Well, is it good in the sense of moral fiber? Or
yeah, that's
continuity?
what I would say. Yeah, in terms of I guess I think as you grow in life, you probably pay more attention to those things and have your own children think about what are they listening to or what's their mind being filled with. I haven't ever been overly, I guess, worried about that because in my own experience, I've listened to a lot of music, not a lot, but some music from time to time that the lyrics weren't what I would call real wholesome, but it didn't influence me to go out and try drugs or smoke marijuana or so I've never been overly concerned about that, but I think as you think about songs you used to listen to or you hear them on the radio now and you listen to the lyrics, you think, man, that wasn't, that's really not a real good message.
So basically you say it's like the lyrics are on par with everything else and what makes it a good song.
I think I probably feel that way more now than I used to feel. I still like if it doesn't have a good beat and good, something that energizes or engages me, I'm not real interested in it. But I pay more attention to the lyrics now than I used to.
Fair enough. So, if you could discount the lyrics, message, or whatever of general classic rock because it's the 70s and it was sex, drugs, rock and roll, and
right.
all that stuff. If you could discount everything they were saying and just kind of put it on mute, would the rest of it, if it were purely instrumental, be classified as good? Or, like you said, since you've been paying more attention to the lyrics?
Oh no, I think I would classify it as good if because obviously there was something that attracted me to a certain song. If I recognized it wasn't the lyrics, then it had to be, the actual instruments and music and some besides those lyrics. So yeah, I would say.
Is there a song that's impressed you with its lyricism? That's something that grabs you, or Just you hold to a high standard?
Well, probably one of my favorite songs is the one that One Voice sings, "God Is All Around," and that one just from its meaning and the way they sing it and the way when they come near the end of the song, they move out into the audience and they surround the group and they sing "God Is All Around," and that one always pops out as one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites. I have songs from every different, area you would think of really on my iTunes. So I listen to lots of different stuff.
I like to say I do too. Just keep an open mind. It's
Right.
like, it's not all classical in the music department.
Right.
And as much as I love it, you can only have so much of it in one day. So let me think. So the focusing a little bit on "God Is All Around." Not so much the actual song, but like, would you say it's important to you because of the message, and or like any other things in it, like, or songs in general? Would it be considered good for you if it has like a purpose behind it, or the message is good?
I think it's both. I think for me, I think if the message is great but the beat is awful, I'm not real interested in. I'm not going to consider it a good song if it doesn't either bring energy, give me good feelings, make me feel good, have a positive feelings about it. If none of that's there, but it just has good lyrics, I wouldn't consider it really a good song. Probably, I'm not saying the message would be horrible, but I wouldn't consider it a good song. It wouldn't be one of my favorites, but of course, a song like "God Is All Around" doesn't have this, electrifying, beat to it. But that one is about the message. But it's also about the tone and the way it's sung and presented. That one is kind of all about the message. There's, plenty of others. Like I say, I listen to country. I grew up, listened to the Commodores. Lionel Richie was one of my favorites ever. I listen to everything, really.
Is there a particular song by like the Commodores or Lionel Richie that?
Oh boy, I could name a lot of them. By Lionel Richie, "Penny Lover," "Stuck on You," Commodores, I think "3 Times Lady," "Sail On," a lot of them. But and at the same time, I was listening to country music, so I really, I found a lot of people are kind of what he goes to. I listen to country. Mm-hmm. I've never been that way. I listen to everything, and I like everything.
You don't stick to one particular thing. So, any of those have a particular hook or drive that, like, when you hear it, or once you get to the chorus, it's like that's the song. Like
I think a lot of them do. I can't think anything just doesn't come to mind, but I think if the chorus is good and the chorus is something you enjoy singing along to, it has a good beat to it, then I enjoy those.
So, a good beat, like, because I'm used to modern day, like, it's a standard 8-beat thing, and they like have a little bit of variance. It's like, what would you define it? Is it something that's interesting, or something that's primal, which is a little bit more predictable, or what would you say is something that?
That's a good question, because I'm not musically gifted at all.
Well, so we're asking these questions.
So I don't know that I would
describe the color red to me.
I would have a clue. I think for me, I'm attracted to songs that have a good beat, they have a good rhythm, they, you enjoy singing along with them. I can't sing, but, I sing pretty good in my car when I'm by myself. And you hope nobody's driving beside you watching.
I do regardless. I'm going to put on full-on opera face even if I'm listening to rock. So something like you could just kind of like feel
Mm-hmm.
or
Yep.
maybe dance to. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if
I'm not a
it's-
dancer, but yeah. Um, but yeah, to me, a song makes you want to dance, and yeah, to me, that's a good song.
So something that's not static. Okay, I can get that. I can't. I'm afraid to talk about melody a little bit because like that might infer some singing, but we'll see if we can tweak it so it gets around that. Is it's really hard to like it'll say it's like describe the color red.
Right.
You know, if you're not an art major or something like that, it's a very difficult concept because I can say like all these technical terms like it's like, oh, this is a good melody because it uses contrary motion, uses the appoggiatura to reach just like
Yeah.
English please. But even then, it's not even that correctly analyzed. A good melody, is it something easy to grasp or easy to remember? Or are they mutually exclusive?
I would say maybe easy to remember, you know, because I'm not a music major. I don't understand all that. So, you know, I say I'm probably more attracted to something that's easier to remember.
Mhm.
You know, if I like the beat of the music and the rhythm and you know, and it's easy to remember and sing along to, I probably am more attracted to that.
Yeah. Something that fuses together a beat, but different tack now since it just popped into my head. What do you think the purpose of a songwriter is?
Well, I think I guess the purpose of a songwriter is to you know, get their message out. You know, they have a story they want to tell, or they have a message they want to deliver, and they're trying to do it through a song. And so, I'm not a songwriter, so I don't know how all that works. But you know, when you're writing a song, or you're thinking about the rhythm or the beat of the song, I don't have any idea. But I would think it starts with, man, I have this message that I think is important, or I have this story I want to tell, like they said about Taylor Swift about all her ex-boyfriends when she's mad at them. She writes songs and tells the story, you know, because she wants to tell a story. So I guess to me, that's what I think about when I think about songwriting.
Fair enough. So, to tell a specific story, I get like a lot of times we try and do it something that other people can relate to because that obviously helps sell and whatnot.
Right.
Or it's I guess the thing I'm really trying to say is there is there like a kind of a hidden thing or not so hidden thing behind telling the story because you're bringing something to light when is that on purpose so that people will get a reaction out of it, or does that necessarily, or it's not necessarily all the time?
You know, I wouldn't know. I guess that depends on the different songwriters and what their purpose is. I would think they would want their message to be loud and clear and easy to understand, but I don't know. Maybe some want to, you know, have more of a hidden message that is maybe revealed. Yeah.
Let's move on to, what do you think the purpose of, I'll put this in quotes, a Christian songwriter or artist might be?
Well, I think obviously to share the gospel, to share the good news of Jesus Christ, to share that good news with everybody.
I'm trying to think. It was like, because there's a wide array of songs in the Bible itself, and they range from all kinds of different emotions. Are all of those still viable to write about, or is it more of a focus on an evangelical sort of sense? Or are they mutually exclusive?
Well, give me examples of what emotions you're talking about.
Well, to be basic, there's Ecclesiastes and Lamentations, and even a lot of the Psalms. Like Psalm 51 is a remorseful one, whereas Psalm 23 is more of a repose, like a more of a confident thing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Lamentations is just simply, where are you, God?
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately asking where he went.
Right.
And it's like, so you go all the way from brokenness to sing to the Lord a new song.
Right. I think all those things are part of life. They're part of what we go through on a daily basis, different emotions, and I think they're all important. You know, song. You know, we listen to the radio and different songs every day, and they deal with all those various emotions. As we go through life on a daily basis, we have ups and downs, and I think they're all important.
Can you think of any recent songs in the Christian label that, so it's a funny thing that frustrates me, is like there isn't a Christian band because
Right.
Jesus didn't die to save a band.
Mm.
So there might be Christian people in the band.
Right.
It's just a hilarious concept to me. But Christian band, composed of Christians, or a solo artist, can you think of something that might have dealt with another spectrum or another part of the spectrum other than pure praise?
Well, who was it? Was it Stephen Curtis Chapman? I think lost a child, maybe, and wrote a song about that, about tragedy. About I don't remember the specifics of the song, but I think it was Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Yeah, I remember reading up about that. I'm just trying to think of the particular song and like how it was.
But obviously, that was dealing with sorrow and not necessarily a happy time. I don't remember the lyrics, but I know it had to deal with the death of a child, and so.
So, I guess I think this might be like one of my closing questions, if not the one. So, to be relevant as a Christian artist versus an artist in general is like not only, but as a Christian artist specifically, is tell somehow of the character of Christ, like the essential gospel of it, but still keep it in a sense that it's still human, as opposed to just putting up on an unreachable pedestal. Like, is it more about like exemplifying this, or doing that and bringing it closer in a sense that it's more understood? Or are both like necessary?
Well, I think if it's what is the definition of a Christian song? Could you say it's a Christian song because it's not full of lyrics that have immoral or non-Christian parts, belief systems that are, does that make it Christian? Artists would have to have a message about Christ or the gospel, or and it seems to me too, it's just as important for Christian artists, if they're Christian artists, to kind of live out that faith and to guard their life and their faith, because we're all human, but yet a Christian artist unless they make some bad life choices, then they're not going to be considered among the elite Christian artists, because maybe they made some poor life choices, which maybe is not fair either, because we all sin, fall short of the glory of God. But if you're known as a Christian artist, that you probably have expectations of how you live your life that are much different than normal. But I think the probably to think about what really makes a Christian artist, I think is they're consistently putting forth a message about their faith, about the Christian way of life, about the gospel, about praising our Savior.
So could a non-Christian artist make a Christian song?
They could. certainly I think someone that's not a believer could write lyrics that that describe the gospel, that explain the Christian faith. They could certainly write lyrics about that. Would they be accepted in the Christian community if you knew they came from a non-believer? I doubt it. But it could have a good beat and a good rhythm, and people may enjoy the song. But surely I think anybody could write, and I think we see it all the time through life, and I certainly think that's possible, and that could happen. Now, could they write it and have the same passion and conviction? Certainly, that those of us that are believers could. I certainly don't think so. If you don't experience it, how could you?
Fair enough. I think that might be all the questions I might have.
Well, good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Shut this off.
I hope that helps you.
Oh, it doesn't.